biggest game though over the last couple weeks I've been playing has been Saints Row 3, and I'm not going to go completely into it just because that's obviously the topic, but I've really enjoyed that game. I likened it to a kid that, like, my son or my daughter who do not want to take a bath at all. And they're like, no, I don't want to take a bath. I don't want to take a bath. You get them in the bath, and they're like, no, I don't want to get out. I'm having so much fun. That was kind of the way I feel about Saints Row the Third. I really was not. I got it because you guys, implored me to. Obviously, it was a great deal during the Steam Summer Sale, and so it was certainly worth it. I wasn't completely jacked to play it, but I had an absolute. Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you picked that up on the Humble Bundle, though.
No, I got that during the Steam Summer Sale and got all the DLC. So I've had an actual blast with it. It was a lot more fun than I expected. There's some things that maybe talk about in a little bit that I find a lot more fun than what maybe one would care to admit in public. But I've really enjoyed it, and I think the only issue that I had, and again, this probably comes back to me being an idiot, was that so I have the DLC, and I was playing some of the DLC missions off the cell phone, and I think I beat like the missions. I beat that storyline or whatever, and I go back and like it's there again in my cell phone. I'm like, that sounds familiar, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't play that. Well, I start the mission again, and I'm like, sure enough, I've played this one already. So I played through the whole mission again, and I found that to be pretty annoying. But I was like, why is that in my cell phone still? But it's DLC, and you might want to replay that as many times as you want. So that makes sense to me. But I was completely annoyed that I played a mission again that I'd played probably I think the night before. So
yeah, I wish it would give you an option to maybe tack it on to the end of the game or something.
Yeah.
Like after you've completed the story, then it would just play out or something.
Saints Row versus GTA, kind of the topic of the night. I have played Saints Row 3, not even all the way through it yet. Had not played the first couple, but after my experiences so far, I do think I'm going to go back and play those. I think my GTA experiences are a little less than your guys's. I've played San Andreas, I played Vice City, and I played one other one, and I can't remember which one it is, but I think you guys have probably played them all. So what are your guys' thoughts? Which out of the two franchises, which are your favorites and why?
For me, it depends on when we are in time, I guess.
Absolutely.
I played. I think I started with Grand Theft Auto 2. Actually, I've played Grand Theft Auto 1, but I first got Grand Theft Auto 2 on the PC, and I remember being extremely excited when Grand Theft Auto 3 was announced because I thought, wow, a 3D Grand Theft Auto game, that's going to be amazing, and it was. Me and Mike used to spend hours just on the top of a parking garage just sniping people, or whatever. Yeah. It was a blast. It was new on all frontiers. Vice City came out and polished everything, and that was an amazing game. And somehow San Andreas came out and I think made it even better myself. But then when we got to 4, I think there's a lot of improvements with 4. But I felt that they took quite a few steps back as well as steps forward. And we can get into that detail as we go on. But and I think my first experience with Saints Row was with Saints Row the Third. I had never played 1 and 2. I always just assumed they were a cheap knockoff of Grand Theft Auto, so I didn't pay much attention to them. But I was really surprised and happy with Saints Row the Third. So right now I think I have more, and I have more love for Saints Row, but there's a lot up in the air right now. Grand Theft Auto 5's coming out, or either just came out or is coming out, and then Saints Row 4 just came out. THQ doesn't exist anymore, and they're who made 3 and most of 4. And I can't think. I think it's Deep Silver is the company that owns the Saints Row franchise now.
Yes, Deep Silver.
Saints Row 4 might be the last Saints Row game as we know it, because they have new people developing it now, and so maybe they might not ever be able to hit that target again. I don't know. That's a big variable there for me. And Grand Theft Auto 5, I guess I could tell you more if I had a platform that I was going to be able to play it on. I'm pretty sure they're going to release it on PC at some point, but it's not going to at launch anyway. So, as of right now, I think my alliance lies with Saints Row is just because of the support, and I like the playstyle, but I haven't played either of the latest iterations. So
now, I have actually, you guys may not know this, but I've played every single GTA and Saints Row game from start to finish.
I thought that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I have complaints about both of them. I have things that I love about both of them. GTA is definitely a more serious type of game, I think. Not that you can't spend an hour messing around and
these days, GTA 1 and 2 were wonky as heck. They
were wonky, but I still feel like maybe there was more of a serious vibe to it.
Sure.
And I started off with Saints Row. I'd never played it before. I think I played Saints Row 1 maybe 2 years ago.
Weren't Saints Row 1 and 2 kind of serious though?
Yeah, to a point.
It's almost kind of like they've swapped roles a little bit as far as seriousness and wonky. To me, I don't know. I guess I haven't played 1 and 2. It's just from what I've seen.
That could be. And Nate, I know you said you were going to start off with playing both 1 and 2 again. I would just start off with the second, personally.
I don't think 1 even exists on PC, actually.
Oh. It may not. May not. But honestly, 1 and 2 are the exact same game. It's just that 2 is better. So, take that as you want. It's not like it's a heavy storyline game.
Right.
Graphically, I know none of us are really big into graphics, but graphically, GTA, I think, just takes the cake on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's better, and the car mechanics are better in GTA. The bullet holes in the cars, just little stupid little things. I remember in GTA 4, the newest one, you could sit there and do a burnout with your car until your tires pop, which actually will happen. In Saints Row, you can't do that. Also in Saints Row, another one of those little stupid things that I noticed. If you're running a car at top speed, it's as fast as it can go, it'll rev the motor up, and once it hits a certain point, it starts back over and does it again and again and again. And it's little tiny things like that I find incredibly annoying.
Those things really bother you.
They do, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because if you're in the top speed of the car, the RPM gauge means it's reading 7,000 if your max is 7,000. Okay, so that engine is going to make that specific noise at 7,000 RPMs, and it's going to stay there until you come down at a top speed. It's not going to go back down to 3,000, come back up, and come back up. It doesn't do that. It doesn't work like that. So things like that just really bug me, and GTA is just so much more polished over Saints Row. I feel
I can appreciate that, sure.
Yeah, and so I loved the Saints Row games. I love the GTA games. I agree with you that 4 has definitely lost some things from San Andreas. San Andreas was huge. I mean, they had lots of cool stuff in there. And I'm not sure why they took out. I think my biggest complaint from going from San Andreas to 4 was that they took out the flying. You could do helicopters, but you couldn't fly planes. I loved flying the planes in San Andreas. Yeah. They had the Harrier jet in there and all kinds of different stuff. It was a lot of fun to me. You could even fly the commercial 747s or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
I found that I didn't understand why they took that out of 4.
I think it was just engine limitations more than anything. I mean, like you said, you nailed it with the graphics. It was something that they couldn't include. But personally, I would take a cut in graphics for the gameplay.
That's for more content. Yeah,
right.
And I definitely agree with you. And that's where I think Saints Row kind of makes up. The gap in between those two, because it has everything. I mean, everything you could ever want to do is in Saints Row that's not in GTA 4.
Sure.
The only thing which is really just dirty is you can't do anything with the prostitutes. So unless I go back to my puberty days when I'm 12 and I thought that was the coolest thing since sliced bread, I don't care anymore. It's
See, it's interesting that you say that though, because I mean I'm like, as I scroll through Reddit and look at different people's reactions to these two games, and from what everyone has had to say, that Saints Row is certainly the crazier, it's the wonkier, it's the less serious of the franchises, which I like, which I'm certainly okay with. But when did GTA become like the serious game? Like I don't get that. I mean, GTA 5 is coming out, and I saw an article, and I think it's on IGN, and literally this is what the headline said. It was something like penises, marijuana, and even a little bit of necrophilia. So when did that come to pass for serious in tone?
And it's not. I don't think it's necessarily the content in the game. It's just the way it's presented.
Right.
I think GTA is just presented more
cartoonish,
serious.
Saints Row maybe has a more cartoonish like feel to it in a way.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's all the little details, like Mike said, and it's something. It's kind of a complaint for me with GTA and the little things that I think sometimes they make too realistic, too serious, for just little things like running down the street, and then I want to stop and go the other direction. Your body has inertia, and you're like a rag doll, and it takes you a second to regrip and turn around. I appreciate that realism, and the same thing with driving. I appreciate that realism in the fact that your car has weight and that it slides and it has inertia. But in GTA, or excuse me, Saints Row, it's an arcadey feel. Like I can turn on a dime in my car or on foot, and
Absolutely.
I can hop through the windshield when I take a car. It's more of that escape from reality, and GTA it's not so much an escape. It's and I think probably more than anything, the part that really did that was the annoyance of dealing with friends, like your cousin when he wanted to go bowling and stuff.
Oh, that was awful.
I felt like it was a chore. And
It was a chore.
myself, I actually never finished Grand Theft Auto 4 because it just I don't know. I just felt like it was.
I think you're hitting on it, though. I think that like literally what you just said, the escape from reality. I think that literally now is kind of triggered as to why I like Saints Row more than GTA. And an example of that with just comparing different game franchises. It's been well known. I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan. Obviously, very realistic games to a degree. And Borderlands, but Borderlands is a type of game that I absolutely love. And you go back to what you said just a little bit ago, Casey, about you'll take a degradation in graphics for more content. And to me, it's not like Borderlands. You would look at Borderlands, it's not like the graphics in that game or anything special. Not at all. It's very kind of silly. It's very cartoonish. But I absolutely, the feel of those two games, I very much like the Borderlands over the other, and I very much like Saints Row over GTA.
Sure.
And all that makes perfect sense. Because GTA isn't a driving game. It's not a driving game. It's not a shooter. It's not, so it shouldn't be. I don't think it shouldn't. It should not be as realistic as it is, because you're right, Casey, with the inertia of the cars and everything. It is GTA. I think is a tougher game to play. It's a tougher game to complete because you have to do some missions over and over again to complete them. And I think that kind of deters us in a way, the three of us, because we all we don't want to do the same thing over and over again, and with those games being what they are, it's an escape from reality. You go do what you want to do, and if you want to go walk down the street and beat people up, that's what you want to do, and it's not realistic games, so don't try and make it realistic, because I actually do. Some of the posts on Reddit said that the driving was way better in GTA. Yes, as far as the driving aspect for the way cars react to the way you do things, it is better. But I like driving in Saints Row better because I don't want it to be a pain while I'm doing a mission.
I want to drive fast and feel the driving fast without worrying about, oh god, I'm going to wreck into this wall.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I better slow down for this turn.
And another thing, Casey, I don't know if you remember or not, but did they have car modifications in GTA? I know they did in San Andreas, but did they in 4? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm honestly not sure. So no comment, I guess. But I don't remember anything too crazy happening.
And I don't either. And that's something that I enjoy doing out of Saints Row. I'll sit there and tinker with a car for a while and make it the way I want it. And you can also make them, almost indestructible in a way.
Yep. It's funny that you say that because, we just talked about this to a degree with Burnout, and I just said that I really don't care to do that. But I find myself in Saints Row 3, I've customized like 3 cars and had a lot of fun doing it.
Dude, I got like 130, I swear. But it is something that you enjoy doing, and I think that kind of takes away a little bit from GTA. I remember GTA. I finally found the car that looks like a Lamborghini, and I don't remember what it was called, right? And of course, I was trying to fudge the system, and they have that little yellow box where you can park 2 cars in, right? Well, I tried parking the Lamborghini and then the Ferrari-looking one and then a crotch rocket that I wanted, right? So I had them all in that box, and I was like, okay, that should work. Of course, me being the way I was, I didn't understand the way the game worked. Came back, and the Lamborghini's gone. The bike and the Ferrari are still there, but the Lamborghini's gone.
No.
Yeah, it saved those 2 cars. I have never... I played that game for hours after that. Never found another Lamborghini in the entire map. Ever.
Wow.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and as that's not a big deal, because it's not a car game. It bothered me because I couldn't find one. And that's, it just bothered the crap out of me. I was like, why would you do that to me?
I did see a screenshot today, Grand Theft Auto 5 in a trailer that there's going to be tanks again.
Oh, is there? Oh, that could be.
Maybe they're doing some good things there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. That's the next generation. We probably won't get to those games for 6+ months because we're cheap, and probably most of you listening are too. I'm not going to pay $60 for it. I'll wait until there's a good deal. I bought Saints Row 3 for $10, I think, on a Steam, a Christmas sale or something. So.
Yep, I think I got the game and all of the DLC for 7 or 8 during the summer sale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What about character customization? It was the GTA didn't have that. You had a character, right? And maybe you could change his jacket or something. And
right. Yeah.
And
Grand Theft Auto 4, you were Nico always.
Always Nico.
You could change your clothes and how you looked a little bit, but and Saints Row,
Well, you couldn't even really change how you looked. It was just, I guess I understand what you're saying. It was just. Yeah, clothing and jewelry, and that was it.
Right.
That was all you got to fix,
Right.
And to be honest, I think a lot of the clothing kind of looked like garbage anyway.
Sure.
It was...
and that's both a good and a negative, because I think, when I played Saints Row, I made my character ridiculous, And so every cutscene was a comedy to me, It was just funny to see this ridiculous character in these situations where and GTA retained its serious storyline because you were Nico, and it allowed a narrative that Saints kind of can't do, because you can make your character whatever you want it to be.
Right.
Am I alone in that this is the embarrassing thing I was saying earlier that I wasn't sure I want to admit, but I love the character customization, and I find myself every time I head back to one of the hideouts and access the crib, I change outfits every single time I go back.
Well, I try to find the most ridiculous thing I possibly can. Once I find that, I'm done. I pretty much am like, I've been wearing this, piece of clothing for, what seems like a day in the game. It's time to change, because realistically, I would change now. Yeah. Well, that's a aspect, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Nate, you're kind of weird for that, I think. Yeah. But again, I can't really say much because I picked a girl on purpose on that game to play with. And,
You made her a hoochie, didn't you?
I did. I made her a hoochie. She looks just awful. Yeah. And mom would not approve.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Is anyone else lagging?